Now, a pair of rare white stork chicks have been born in North Staffordshire for the first time in more than 600 years. They're up there. The birds used to be native to the UK, but hunting and loss of habitat saw them become almost extinct. That's their best bit. The storklings are part of a rewilding project which is working towards establishing a breeding colony. Tanya Sanger can show you more.
It's feeding time for these two baby white storks, the first in the region to be born for more than 600 years. And it's all down to a conservation project which aims to reintroduce the bird back into the Midlands.
We've assembled this flock here to try to breed this lost species in Staffordshire again. And we're really excited because we've been successful. We've had 2 baby chicks hatch under controlled conditions, and we're just really excited.
The parents have become inseparable, building their own nest. And that sound shows they're a bonded pair.
They're not shy of people, so one day you could have a pair of white storks nesting near your house, on your community building, and those storks are families. They'll come back each year and you yourself will have a great bond and connection with those storks.
White storks were once a familiar sight across the UK until they vanished because of habitat loss and hunting. But this project hopes to reverse that and has been backed by the community.
People have been hearing it from all over, wondering what on earth is that noise. And of course it's the storks. We've got people on Facebook asking what's going on, this is amazing. No way this species used to live in the Midlands, but yeah, it's been amazing, the support that we've had.
And looking after the newborns isn't easy.
They need 24/7 care. And as such, I've got instant respect for all parents on earth now because they've kept me awake for the past four days pretty much. So I've been going on basically no sleep. And it's a case of making sure that the birds think that they're being fed by a stork. So we actually use a white glove and red tweezers to feed them.
They're expected to grow to full size in just 2 months, reaching 1 metre in height with a wingspan of 2 metres, helping them soar across the Midlands in the near future.
That was Tanya Sanger reporting there. You can see it in all its glory now as well. As you can see on the sofa with Graham Bazant, who runs the Gauntlet Birds of Prey Eagle and Vulture Park in Knutsford. Morning. Nice to see you. I say you've got this bird of prey park. They're not birds of prey, are they? But you've got some white storks.
Yeah, I mean, they predate and they're omnivores, and they just sort of fit in with birds of prey. They fit in really well, and you see them around areas and they share habitat, really.
And you ended up rearing a couple because they had bad parents, and so you reared from eggs.
Yeah, that's right. It was a lockdown project, really. We have all our birds in the show. When we fly white storks in our show, they fly with the vultures and such like. And then we've got some breeding pairs, and They laid their eggs, everything was going great, but then when it came to rearing, they just really were struggling. And so we ended up having to take it on during lockdown. So it was like when everyone else was locked down, we were still obviously with the birds, no customers coming in or anything. But then we had them as a bit of a project, and they were just so much fun, just incredible birds.
And that's the thing, they've sort of got a bit of a personality, haven't they? And they're very different from birds of prey. So, when you were rearing these chicks, what did you have to do differently?
Well, the same sort of it's feeding every 3 hours and such like. You're really involved, but their personalities came out, and everywhere we were, they wanted to be really. So noisy, and they clack and everything. They're just such incredible creatures.
Yeah, they're noisy, aren't they? We heard that in that report. Tell me about Biggie.
Oh, Biggie, yeah, he's the largest. He's got basically there was 5 of them. And he's the largest one, and he's just got this personality. He's like a dog in so many ways. He comes out in the show, all the rest get on with the job of flying. He'll do a little bit of flying, then he'll come and find the presenter, and he likes to just stick with you. And he's just one of those ones, and he looks at you. And the amount of people who say, he's better trained than a dog. And he really is. He's just one of those characters, and he keeps everybody in check.
Well, that's what you need, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we said there in that introduction, you know, push close to extinction. These, you know, the first bred in that part of the world in 600 years. We have a strange relationship with storks as well, you know, not least because of the myth about a stork delivering a baby.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. It's so ingrained in us, in our DNA, really. If you think about Henry V, he used to go out on his hunting party. They said he liked stork to eat, you know, all those sort of things. But they got wiped out, and thank goodness we're doing something about it. You know, we're putting them back in where they should be. Europe really respect them. You know, people have the cartwheels that then the storks make their nest on top, and they want them on the house. In many places, they're considered good luck. So,
yeah. And some of those stork nests, I mean, they last years, don't they? Decades.
Yeah, and they inherit it, you know, so they'll pass it down the line almost. So
so they don't build a new one every year?
Yeah, they'll add to it. So some of them are weighing tons, you know. They've just added over hundreds of years. It's crazy, isn't it, to think you're handing down the family house in a way, isn't it, in effect?
And they become landmarks. I mean, as you said, on some chimney tops, on some buildings, the nest itself can become a bit of a landmark.
Yeah, definitely. People spot it, and the amount of times I've been abroad, and if you look at Europe, you know, where there's good concentration, you know, there they are. And then the birds, like, move around. They go down south to warmer climes until they mature, and then they return back to where they were born. You know, they're just an ace story, aren't they? And
why is it so important for them to be, you know, flourishing in the wild here? Like I said, Europe, and you touched on it there, Europe's got a different relationship. What would it mean for them to be here in the wild?
they're part of our ecosystem, aren't they? You know, everything has a place. Yeah. Every animal has a place. Pardon?
What do they eat?
They feed a lot on insects. They'll like I say, they'll wade. They'll feed on fish. They're right across the board, and they're just so important to us. And I think they're iconic. They're a large bird. They're white. You can't miss them. I mean, look at those beautiful orange features. You know, they're incredible, aren't they? How can you not love them?
They are incredible. I mean, it's quite elegant as well when you look at them
totally
like that.
Beautiful. Yeah.
The government, yes, they changed the rules in it briefly on keeping them in closure, but I imagine, and this is a large part of what you do, isn't it, which is that whole thing about, being able to show them to people, rediscovering a new love of them. So, Graham, really good to talk to you. Thank you for being here. Graham Bassett there at the Gauntlet Birds of Prey, Eagle and Vulture Park. Thank you. Nice to see you.